instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod.
Well, welcome everybody to the Flagstick Podcast. Once again, I'm Jeff Potter. He is Scott McLeod. And the Flagstick Podcast is sponsored this week by Srixon Golf. Whether you're looking for a premium urethane option in the Z-Star series, a quality budget option in the soft feel, or somewhere in between with the Q-Star Tour, Srixon Golf has an option that will work for your game. Visit Srixon.ca. Make sure you're following us across all our social media networks, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us, and click that notification bell. Make sure you never miss a single episode. Because stuff goes up there all the time, and you don't want to miss any of that.
You do not.
No. Well, it's random wheel spin week here on the Flagstick Podcast. We've done this before. We have a bunch of random topics of, some important stuff, some maybe not so important stuff, but they're, to us,
topical.
everything we talk about on this podcast is important.
Sure.
It's meaningful life experience.
But it's whether we talk about them or not. So.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to spin the wheel. We're going to pick some topics and we're going to have a chat about it.
I got my random number generator.
Oh, look at that. See, this is legit here, okay?
Yeah,
this isn't some fake thing. We have a random number generator. So we actually do not know what topic we're going to discuss before we discuss it. Can't prepare for stuff like that.
We could try, but
yeah, could try. So that's what we're going to do on the show this week. It's going to encompass parts of the front nine, all of the back nine, maybe all the back nine. Depends. We got a few things we're going to talk about in the front nine.
Yeah, for sure.
Before we get to that, so front nine presented by Metcalfe Golf Club, a natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Still lots of golf to be played. Still lots of game packages available to be purchased for adults, juniors, and families. Make sure you head over to metcalfegolf.com and stay in touch with your golf savings. Now,
I apologize. I just slurped my coffee. If that was loud in anyone's ears, but needed to be done.
That's what it's come to for entertainment value.
How's your cup today?
I like yours. I don't even know where I do know where my pinters are. So I have a whole. See, we're off topic already. I have a whole.
It's okay.
Road trip golf room. You remember the golf room from Parkway Road? The golf room was awesome. Had the bar in there. The golf room. Everything from every place I've ever been was on display. And then we moved, and then we had a basement flood, and then nothing ever got out, and everything
packed it all away.
Everything is still in boxes. I literally, honestly, sometimes we've been in this house now for I think almost 15 years.
Oh God!
And I still have not unpacked any of the golf room stuff. Like it's crazy. I'm living. I should be living in this house.
That's sad.
It is pretty sad, but that I know is my Pinehurst mug is in one of those boxes somewhere, along with my replica claret jug, and I got a lot of cool stuff just packed away, waiting for nobody to see it.
There you go. So this was my replacement mug, as you recall.
Yes,
I broke the first one.
Yes, but I do recall.
Anyways, that is my one thing that I keep, mugs. Anyways.
Okay. I just want to mention that I don't play a lot of golf these days. I'd like to play more than I do. And clearly, judging from the last 2 rounds of golf that I played, there are some inconsistencies in my game that I don't know what Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde moment is going to come out.
Were these back-to-back days, by the way?
Yeah, I played. So I played Camelot. So my son Brandon's heading off to Guelph. And one of the things that he's wanted to do since he's been working at Camelot on the maintenance team there, and he's played a few rounds of golf with some of the guys that work there, but he wanted to play the golf course from all the way back, the very back tees.
Sure.
And nobody wants to play the back tees at Camelot. So he wanted it. So we called up Shane Stanley, his buddy, and brother Sean.
Yep.
And said, let's have a match. Let's go out and play, and let's play the back tees. So
How fast were the marshals on you?
they weren't. No, you know what? It was.
I'm
It was.
kidding.
Oh, it was okay. Like
It was okay.
honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
I look. I've played
This is
enough.
7,000. This is 7,000 plus yards,
Yeah,
people.
I've played enough road trip
Right.
rounds with you
Yeah.
and other people over the years that I've played enough golf courses from the back tees that, and you just adapt. You just figure
Sure.
it out, and you just accept the fact that
Yes.
it's the back
Acceptance is the big
tees.
thing. Yeah.
I'm not shooting lights out here. I'm definitely not going to have wedges in my hand every shot I hit. You just figure out how to get the ball on or around the green with getting into as little trouble as possible
Yeah.
and try to chip and putt and make a bunch of pars. You don't even
Sure.
worry so much about bogeys. You just try to.
He also realized why you don't play back there on a regular
Well,
basis and why
yeah,
most people
exactly.
shouldn't. But yeah,
It can be if you hit it a long way, it's fun.
Sure.
So, anyways, played the back tees, and I shoot 79.
Solid.
So I'm like,
Respectable.
okay, and then it was a scrappy 79. It was I had
Sure.
2 or 3 birdies,
As
I
you
think,
would
maybe
expect.
2 birdies and a bunch of pars, and a bunch of bogeys, and I had
Bunch of
one
up and
really really
downs, I'm
bad
sure.
hole where I took
Okay.
me 3 shots to get out of a bunker. You know how great I am at a bunker, Steve. So how can I have been so good at a bunkers for so long?
terrible out of bunker.
I am horrific at a bunkers. Just terrible. Anyway.
I have more videos of you hitting bad
Oh my
bunker
gosh,
shots
yeah.
around North America than I
Hitting out
have
of bunkers.
any other video, because we know it's gonna be like the Benny Hill show when you get into some really
just
bad
tragic.
lie.
So
And-
then the next day, Brother Sean invites us to go out and play Mississippi with him. He's a member at
Okay.
Mississippi. And,
Sure.
yes, okay, I will say, I'm going to preface this by saying that I did something to my neck or my shoulder overnight. And I had a knot there, and it was kind of bothering me, but it wasn't like hurting. It just, I could feel it.
but
It was annoying me.
it can affect your movement. So
And I swear to God, I couldn't get a ball in the air. Like I cold top shots.
so you go from playing 7,000 yards to like I don't even know.
Well, we played the blue
62,
tee, so it's probably about 64, 65
Okay.
maybe.
All right.
At the most. It's not a
Yeah,
long
the
golf
most.
course by any
No, not
stretch
at
of
all.
the imagination. So, it was, and I think if I added it up, I think I came in about 89.
Were you frustrated, or was it just more
I was
frustrated because you
getting
knew you
frustrated as it went on. Like the first hole, I kind of took. We were late arriving because we zigged when we should have zagged going out there. Even though I've been out there a gajillion times, it kind of just went the wrong way.
Okay.
Anyway, got there late, right at rushed to the tee kind of thing, and I topped the tee shot, so I dropped one, and I reloaded first ball and hit that one, almost topped that one, and then hit the next one into a tree.
Just reversed and went in the parking lot.
I was getting pretty close to it, and then after that, I couldn't get down. I couldn't get down to a ball to get the ball in the air. Everything I hit was like half height, off a bottom groove, or I cold shanked a shot on 6 into the pond on the right, like just absolutely. Just shanked it, and I did that 2 or 3 times. Like it was just one of those days where something wasn't right. I had a swing glitch. It was bad. I did the best I could with chips and putts, and it whatever. I mean, I was frustrated. I was kind of starting to lose I'm usually pretty chill when it comes to golf. When I'm playing bad, I kind of joke about it, and I just I more or less will either try to grind it out and score, or I just won't care and I'll give up and just kind of hit shots and be an idiot and stuff like that. But anyway, Brother Sean played well. Brandon played well. I did not. And so that is the tale of 2 rounds, I would say.
I got in 9 holes.
It's kind of like the wide world of sports, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. I had the thrill of victory at Camelot, and I had the agony of defeat at Mississippi. So there it is. It is what it is. Probably not going to play again for a bit.
Yeah, I finally
you
got
had
9
kind of
holes
a mix of things over the last last week.
Yeah, rough go, but got to play 9 holes with my daughter on Sunday night, which is great because again she's heading back to school at Western. So we hadn't played much this summer. She's been working lots, and so have I, and it just hasn't worked out schedule wise. So Um, and then on Sunday, we were all at the Celebration of Life for Matt McQuillan, which we've talked about here on the podcast. Friend of ours and former PGA Tour player, and your name came up. We were chatting about the Eagle Creek Classic. Mark, I was his dad.
Oh,
Was
yes.
talking about the cigar coming out
Yes.
on 18.
That was
Um,
awesome. Great
I will
moment.
say though, it was a great turnout. The family, sort of kept things a little bit quiet. They definitely wanted people that knew and loved Matt to be there. Obviously, when someone passes away at 45, there's a lot of outpouring of emotion and people that kind of want to be there. But I would say there's probably 300 people through during the day.
That's awesome.
I went early just to help out, pretty close with the family, and I was honored to speak, which was tough.
Of course it would be.
Obviously it was all family and me, which they're like family to me. So yeah, it was nice to be able to tell a couple of stories and give people a couple of laughs through the tears. But it was great to see, yeah, just members of the golf community, friends, all sorts of different people, tons and tons of messages beforehand. It was nice to see the retired media guys all come out from the WIG, CKWS,
Oh,
all these
nice.
people that covered Matt during his run when he got to the PGA Tour, and prior to that, junior golf days and stuff like that. So it was nice to see that crowd out there, and just yeah, overall it ran for about 4 hours. I think I was there for about 6 with them. It was neat too because they had a display out with trophies and bibs and his golf bag and lots of different things. And there were a couple of trophies I hadn't seen, and one I had a good laugh at. It was actually it was a low final round for an AJGA event in Connecticut, and it's a giant Oreo on it. That's a trophy. I'll send you a picture of it, but it was like
Giant
I'd
Oreo.
seen all his trophies before. And he had honors from being #1 player in Canada, lots of different things. And yeah, this giant Oreo, I was just got a kick out of it. I was like, what is that thing? So yeah, but overall, yeah, it was a great turnout, and lots of thoughtful things, lots of great stories. That
Nice.
was the fun part. And I said that at the start of my remarks was one of the greatest parts in the last couple weeks since his passing is just having people message and tell stories and tell their versions of how they knew Matt and how he played with them and gave a tip to their kid or gave a tip to them, or just wasn't boastful, wasn't Mr. Big Tour player. He was just Matt, and he wanted to share his love for golf. So it was good stuff.
That's awesome. No, I'm glad that the turnout. I should say I'm glad the turnout was what it was, but I mean I didn't expect anything
No,
less.
no, for
To be
sure.
honest with you, that the
I
turnout
just
wouldn't
sent
be
you the
that great.
Oreo. I just sent you the Oreo
Okay,
trophies.
you talk.
Yes.
I'm going to look at the Oreo.
Oh,
I want to see the
okay.
Oreo. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just looking.
So, yeah, just a couple of notes for me. It's amazing. It really is. So I'll have to post it online too, or wherever, so people can see it. Again, I'd never seen that before, and the fact it's a giant Oreo, got a kick out of that one. So yeah, that was good stuff.
That
It's
is hilarious.
pretty rare to find cool trophies, and that's a big one that way. So, by coincidence, as far as top level player and stuff like that, I'm actually going to go out and see some of the right after this. I'm actually going to go out and watch some of the Canadian U15 Championship. It's on at Loyalist, just west of Kingston here. So that should be fun to see, and just like we saw Matt when he was that age,
Yeah.
it's nice to go in and see the next level of talent out there. So
So here's the thing. Um, the show is kind of going to be a little bit
all over
all
the
over the
place.
place, right? Because there's
Yeah.
a lot of little things that have happened in the last week, and a lot of little announcements and things that have occurred. So we're kind of not really putting a blanket topic over the whole podcast. That this is what we're going to
Oh no.
do. The random wheel is the main thrust of the top of the podcast, but there's all these little things that have happened, and
Yeah. We do have some breaking
incidentally,
news.
this one just kind of came as we were coming on to record.
Yeah.
This one came up, and it's too important not to
Well, it's something we've been
discuss
talking
because
about, right? We've been talking
yeah.
about on the show, so that's why it becomes important.
So the PGA Tour has announced what the Tour Championship Series will look like
Yep.
for 2028. So
Yes.
as we're in the middle of going through another FedEx Cup playoffs debacle, mess, whatever you want to call this series
Sure.
that is for anything but a playoff,
Yep.
they announced the format for the 2028 version of this, and it's kind of interesting because we've talked about what would
Sort
be
of
the
what
most
we hoped. Yeah.
exciting format to finish this off, and it looks like they found a version of it that can work for, because we talked about the fact that anything that they do, they have to fit it and block it into TV windows. It can't
Right.
be stuff that what we think might work without television
Yeah.
to crown a champion might not work for the TV and the
Right.
sponsors and
So we knew there had to be some compromises.
yeah. So it looks like they have found a way to integrate what we thought would be the best way to do it, and a lot of other people. It's not like we're the only two golf people in the world that said this is the way it should be.
Right.
But they found a way to integrate match play into this. So why don't you, because you told me about this, but why don't you tell how this is going to work?
Yeah,
as best you can.
I read this just minutes ago. So basically what's going to happen is they have the PGA Tour Championship Series, which is going to be their top level throughout the year. They're going to have a PGA Tour Championship Series finale, which is going to be a 72-hole stroke play event. We'll have the 90-player field, so top 90 players for the year. So that's going to basically, at the conclusion of that, you'll get the number one finisher for the season-long points list. You'll get the event winner, obviously. Bonus distributions will be paid out for the year. And then the top 32 players from there will move on to match play, which is a final season-long points list. The top 32 from the season-long points list will go on to the 2-week Tour Championship, which is basically going to be like a group match play. And they say it's going to be at some prestigious venues, which they haven't really announced yet. And basically what will happen is it sort of looks they haven't had match play on tour in this sort of format since 2023 WGC match play. And what they'll do is they'll basically do group stages. And then what they'll do is they'll cut it down, starting with 32 players. They'll get it down to 16 for the next week. And basically it'll be like 4-round match play where you play the other 3 players in the group and you get the most points, and that's how you advance. So it's not going to be a single elimination knockout. So as we said, a little bit more friendly from a TV perspective. You'll get to see more matches. There'll be more things going on. And then basically what'll happen is the 16 in the Tour Championship, the final week 2 or whatever, we'll get all the way through the 4 rounds of play based on the win-loss record. You'll get the 2 undefeated players, I guess will come down to it, or the 2 best players. They will battle for the Tour Champion crown. So basically you have a playoff crown and you have the season crown, but yes, you will get match play. So
now they kind of have that season crown. I must admit I was total brain cramp when it came to this, but Scheffler won the bonus, the $23 million.
But it's more like a bonus. It's not really like a
but it's almost like that's the regular season points championship, but it's not the regular season. It's the points championship for even through the playoffs, but he's so far ahead that he's clinched that. Now it's so the only flaw,
he clinched that before. Yeah, he clinched that before the BMW. Yeah.
So once again, the only flaw that you see potentially in this, and this is where golf is a little bit different than other sports. The season-long points championship that determines the 90 that get into the playoffs.
Who will keep their cards for the next
right. Those will keep their cards. So they're playing for their top 90. That gets them their cards. That gets them into the first round of the playoffs, and puts them in a position where they can climb into that top 32 potentially.
Well, it doesn't get them in the 90 will go to 32 for the playoffs.
Right. Okay, so the 90 isn't really, that first 90 is not really a playoff event. It's just a championship.
It's the championship for the season, the regular season. Right.
So potentially the winner of that points championship could be decided before they even get to that tournament with 90.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess it
Because they're
depends
not going to
on.
reset the points to 0, because then it's just a tournament. Whoever
No,
wins, wins.
no, I don't think so. I'm sure they'll set the purse high enough and the points high enough that maybe it influences a little bit, but
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, if a player obviously plays well enough, which is tough to eliminate, obviously.
But that's not abnormal for sport, even for team sport. It's
Correct.
possible
Yeah.
for some team to have clinched the President's Trophy
Yes.
in the NHL long
Yeah,
before the season ever
correct.
ends.
Yes, exactly.
So it's not abnormal for that
No,
to be an occurrence.
no,
So we really shouldn't look at that and go, oh, well, that makes that It's
no.
just that you have the final event, and that
Mhm,
final event is supposed to determine
mhm.
who that champion is, or at least that final event helps
Yeah,
determine who the top 32 are. It's almost like that final event is about the 32, not about
pretty
more
much.
about the 32.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think they know it's a finale is
Yeah.
really what it amounts to. So they know it's just the last, regular season event of the year. If players are obviously ahead, that's fine. But the big thing from there is to get your spot in that 32 and have that chance to win that
Now,
championship.
you
So
could still potentially, going into that event, be in the top 90 to get into that final event,
mhm.
and literally going into it have no chance of getting into the top 32.
Quite possible, but again, it depends how they set up the
Right.
volatility as far as how you can get there. But that would be your motivation. That is, if you go in there and you're number 75, you're motivated to play well, even if you're way behind,
Yeah.
because you want to get into that. So there's a couple of carrots that's there, and I think it's a pretty good compromise,
Yes.
considering what it is. And we do have a question that's related to this if we do happen to spin and hit it. So we'll find out.
Okay. I do
Okay.
like the match play component of it. I
Yeah.
think that's a game changer for me.
Hmm.
We'll see if the group stage times 2, basically, because you're going group
Yeah.
stage and then you're advancing and then you're basically getting into another group
Stage event,
stage.
but allows them to have two different venues as well. And
Yes, which they need to
because
do for the sponsors and
yeah, and I think that's good for the audience as well, because the problem is when you start with 64 at a match play event and you just get sort of tired of the venue. It's like, oh, I've seen that hole 42 times this week.
yeah.
So this also allows them with the smaller fields to probably go to some golf courses that are like, okay, you know what, we're a high-end private club. This is not going to have as much, it's not going to be as invasive as a regular tour event,
Mhm.
just like a US amateur or stuff like that. So if all of a sudden you have 32 players and then you have 16 players, something like a Cypress Point or a Pine Valley or something like that, they might be more
Wouldn't it be awesome if they went to venues that had multiple courses?
Yeah, I mean that could be the case as well, but it depends on on the quality of the golf course. But yeah, if you get something that's prestigious and has multiple venues, then yeah, so the possibilities are endless here. So,
Okay.
but I think
I like it.
32 and under, I think definitely helps that. So, all right.
All right. Well, I'm curious what our listeners think.
Yes,
We do
definitely.
always ask for your feedback, and feel free to shoot it at us any way you want. Do you like the idea of what they're doing with the playoff
Playoff
format or the
series. Yeah.
championship format? I'm assuming then this means that the players that are not in the championship series, um, there's a grouping of those that will get their cards on the championship series for the next year,
Well, they'll
because
probably
they won't have their own.
they'll drop down to the Challenger series,
Right.
right? So because we know we got two levels of series. Yeah, we'll see if they keep those names.
They
Anyhow,
will. They
yeah.
will.
But whatever the case, at least they're starting to get some structure. We're starting to see kind of what it's going to look like, and we know for sure. I think there's about 7 or 8 confirmed championship series events now. So yeah, it's getting there.
Do we know anything about what's going to happen now that they have a challenger? They're going to have a challenger in the championship series. Do we know
Mhm.
how that affects the Corn Ferry Tour yet? Have they
There's some discussion. They haven't fully flushed that out yet. So
It's kind of like the challenger component and the Corn Ferry are very much one and the same.
Close. There's still going to be a different level in there, which is going to create a little bit more space for more players, which is kind of nice, because that's been one of the tough parts, is that there's been a lot of cards floating around, but not a lot of access. So
Yeah.
if you have multiple, it's almost like you get an extra tour out of there. So, but that's not fully defined yet, but they're getting there.
What do you think about the stuff going around about Rom and Hatton? And now I'm hearing a little bit of chitter chatter that about DeChambeau and coming back to the PGA Tour.
Well, we don't know that for sure. I mean, basically all he said was, it's been a good run, which is basically more referring to Lib 1.0 being done. But again, that might be part of our questions in here if we happen to hit it. So as far as what I thought about it, obviously they're going to be struggling to try to find a place to play if they're not going to move ahead with whatever else is going to happen. So, we're already seeing a few other players kind of jumping ship and get access to DP and stuff like that. So lots to be sorted there for sure.
A lot of the players
Yeah, that's good.
were interviewed over the weekend.
Yes.
And we're asked this very question, which is the only reason I'm bringing it up, because I mean, it's topical,
relevant.
I suppose.
Sure.
It's relevant. Is that they're asking them, how do you feel about those guys, coming back to the PGA Tour?
Yes.
And it seems like obviously Rory has Rory opinions about things, and I think I'm getting to the point where I'm starting not to like a lot of his opinions when it comes to this stuff, because they seem very aggressive. Scheffler's opinions a little more
too far the other way, I think.
yeah,
sometimes.
kind of like, whatever kind of thing. It's just very, but that's Scheffler's. I think.
Sure.
What do you think yourself? Like, what do you think?
I think there's got to be, although there's certain, as Rory referred to it, as far as the value, I mean, we haven't had those players back in regular events for a while. So as far as the value that they bring, I think the eyeballs that they bring, obviously, having them involved with majors has been good. But I don't think they're bigger than the tour. I think at this point, I don't think they're bigger in the tour. So I think for a lot of cases, I think they have to bow down and do exactly what we talked about as far as the Brooks route and stuff like that. Show some contrition, pay your fines, deal with whatever they have. But I mean, when you look down at the list, I mean, there's players in there that, I mean, I don't even know who they are. There's a couple of players that are down on the tour. As far as the big name ones, sure, would it be nice to have a Rom back? Sure,
I don't
but
care.
I don't care. Yeah,
Like,
I don't. I mean, right now, it's not going to make me turn on the TV more.
no. And has it, like I look at it, has it hurt them? And is it really going to did more people tune into the U.S. Open and the Masters and the Open Championship because John Rahm was playing or DeChambeau was
No,
playing?
I
No,
don't think so. I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think they moved the needle at all. So,
I think that the events move the needle more than anything. Yes, you have to have a cast of characters, but there's already lots of characters. So,
and there's a lot of good characters that
that's what I
would
mean.
not have
Yeah.
had the opportunity to play had you
Right.
just let these guys bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
So,
So,
you made your bed, you got to sleep in it.
yeah,
I think
I
that
agree.
there's no desperation on the part of the PGA Tour. Like, do I think that 25 million in donating 25 million to charity is excessive for a penalty to pay? I kind of think maybe that part of it is a little bit, but at the same time, they put that offer out for Koepka for 5 million, which he jumped at, and the others turned their nose up at it. And now where
Right.
they're forced to do something, now it's 25 million. Does it look like the PGA Tour is cashing in on that? But it's not really the
Yeah.
PGA Tour cashing in, because the money goes to charity, not the
Right.
tour.
Yeah. And
So
again, that's a number thrown out there, whether it's real or not. That's a different
yeah, that's
story,
true.
right?
That's true.
So,
And the
yeah.
other thing I've noticed a lot of comments, because you follow the social media stuff, is
Sure, of course.
people commenting on things about um, the players and their return to the tour, and I don't know, it feels weird.
Here's the thing.
It just
I
feels
think
weird to have them
I
come
think
in.
after 5 years, it's way different than if it had been 1 year or 2 years.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because once they're gone for 5 years, 5 years is a long time in
it
professional
is.
sports. So as a result of it, people realized, oh, we can live without them. Do we? And frankly, I mean, when you start to look at some of the players, you know, your Westwoods and Poulters, whatever, these guys are out to pasture anyway. So I mean, Westwood is basically going to play DP, not even DP World Tour. He'll play some DP World Tour, but he's heading straight to the champion or their version of a champion tour, the Stay Shore Tour over there. So I mean, we're not talking about current players that way. There's only a few players that, you know, I think still resonate a lot with the fans. And really, I mean, some of the other ones, look, Canadian Richard T. Lee made over $5 million this year. He probably doesn't care. You know, he's made his generational money that he can, you know, go do whatever with, and he's done. It's a matter of, you know, who else still wants to play, and how will I think they have to earn it. I think they have to earn their way back.
I think that's sort of my feeling on it too, is that you decided to leave.
That's right.
You made your choice. Now you want to come back. You should have to go and earn your card back.
Yep.
Like it's like you never. To me, it should be like you never had your card, and you got to start over again. You got to you grant them. You know, maybe you give them because they, you know, of their status and stuff. Maybe you give them the opportunity to go directly to final stage, to get their card back. But anybody else, you got to qualify for Corn Ferry, and you got to work your way back up that way. I mean, it's this idea of giving them a pass because they're because of the, you know, past major status and all that kind of stuff. There's guys that won majors that lost their cards.
Correct. Exactly.
And had to work their way back. So why are you any different? You won majors, you career money and all that, but then when you left, you lost your card.
Yeah.
You don't have one anymore.
Yeah, you're not, you know, and granted, you know, they're not Jason Duffners or Sean McKeels or whatever, but like you said, those were major champions who all of a sudden had to go down and work their way back up. So I don't know if they assign, you know, a point system relative to, you know, certain benchmarks, and maybe that
but they can just make up a point system to suit.
Well, that's what I mean.
Requirements.
That's what I mean. But the thing is that that's going to, they've got to have something that's somewhat objective. So they've got to find a way that's like, you know, maybe Rahm gets to go in the Challenger Series. You know, maybe he's the top dog and they get him there, and everybody else has to go play Corn Ferry, or just go to Q School or whatever. So, but I think you're right. I think they got to earn their way back. And look, if they're that skilled, then they should be able to get back. Right. Exactly.
I don't think that's the thing. That's my point. Is I feel like it's too much is being made. Too much of this is being about money. And I don't think that their return should be just maybe the one-time offer that they put out there, and one guy took it, and one guy went the route of the DP World Tour, and the rest of them said no, and were rude about the whole situation and arrogant about it. And that, to me, that's off the table. Now, if you want to come back to the PGA Tour, it's no longer about money. It's performance. You're just like everybody else. Go perform. Earn your way back. If you don't want to do that, then go play DP World Tour. Get your ranking points through DP World Tour. Play the majors, but you're not welcome on the PGA Tour unless you earn it back. You know, that's what everyone else has to do.
And that's a great part always about golf, is that, you know, it's designed to be that meritocracy, and people earn their way, and they, you know, and that's what it should continue to be. And 100%. And hopefully it lays out that way. So.
I agree. All right. We ran that right up to and then So we got the front nine out of the way now. We ran that right up to the time. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's wheel spinning time. The random wheel of topics will commence. Scott's got his random number generator ready to go, and we will start talking about some random topics very shortly.
All right, sounds good.
Stay with us. You are listening to and watching the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Bonner and Scott McLeod. We will be right back.
The wind is gusting so hard right now.
The moment is at hand for JJ Spawn.
Let's go, JJ!
This is perfect pitching back into the breeze.
Go get it, Keegan.
It's good when everything depends on it.
A winner again!
It's good when it's
All right, well, welcome back to the Flagstick podcast. This is the random topic wheel. The random topic wheel, we'll call it, I guess. Spin the wheel of wheel of fortune or the wheel of misfortune.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's get to it. Back nine presented by Falcon Ridge Golf Club with 27 holes of fun and challenging golf at great rates. Falcon Ridge is a golfing experience that you should not miss, with the first ever TrackMan range facility built in Eastern Ontario. TrackMan range is all about exciting, easy to use features to provide the ultimate range experience for you. So if you want to book those tee times or at one of the 10 TrackMan range bays, visit falconridgegolf.ca.
Sorry, I messed you up there. I was moving stuff.
I know. I was trying to scroll the screen and got to get ahead of it a little bit there.
Whoops.
And you're like stopping it and typing and like, it's all good.
Oh,
It's all good.
I missed something there. So
You missed number one.
yeah, hang on a second here.
Control Z. Control Z. Control Z. Okay, so here's the deal. This is how this is going to work. We have 16 topics.
I have no idea where one went,
Listed.
but anyways.
And Scott has a random number generator on his phone. And we are going to randomly select a number, 1 to 16, from the random number generator. And whatever number that is the question number that we are going to discuss.
Yeah, there you go. My numbers changed. That's what happened there. So, but that's okay. We got 2 through 17. So, but we're still 16 topics. So
here we go.
All right.
Let us get to topic number 1. Scott, spin that wheel.
All right, let's give it a go. Number 4.
Okay.
The PGA Tour Championship, which is obviously this week on the PGA Tour. Sink or swim? Is there anything left to watch? Be excited about?
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's East Lake.
I think it's personal, really, more than anything. But yeah,
is that? I mean, I guess watching the top. Here's the thing. When it comes to the Tour Championship, and this obviously we've just mentioned off the top of the show that this is changing. The whole format for this is changing in 2028. However, we do have to suffer through this again next year.
Of course.
And that means we'll probably be having these conversations again next year, or we'll be saying, are you happy that the new format is coming, or would you like to stick with the old one?
Right.
I have always maintained when it comes to the playoffs, I have always maintained that your spot in the final tournament should be based on how you perform in the playoffs. Right. Not in where you stood going into the playoffs and how far ahead somebody else was of you. I've always felt that once you are in the top 70, all the points are gone, and now you are all at 0. It's 72 players. You play the first tournament, the St. Jude. If you're in the top 50 in that tournament, you move on to BMW Championship. You play the BMW Championship. If you're in the top 30 in that championship, you move on to the Tour Championship, where you compete. You've earned your spot. The problem
turning your back on the season points, right?
You just think about it in every other sport.
Right.
Regular season gets you to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And how you perform in the playoffs determines whether you win the playoffs. If you are the 16th team that qualifies for the Stanley Cup playoffs, you can win the Stanley Cup. But in this, if you're the 70th player, you might not get past the first tournament. And that's because of how you played, but because you were too far back with your regular season points. It doesn't make any sense. So
okay. So that said,
is there anything left to watch?
Yeah,
Scheffler's Scheffler's already won the $23 million bonus. That's done. I guess you have a competition to see who's going to be potentially player of the year. Could somebody double up a playoff event and that be the kicker that kicks them over the top? I suppose. do we want to see if Scheffler rebounds after a disappointing week last week? But then now we find out that he was sick.
Mm-hmm.
So that has a lot to do with that, especially if anybody's ever had that particular situation. When you have blisters on your hands,
Yeah, no
golf is hard.
Yeah, funny that.
I'm just saying, for him to go through that for the first couple of rounds and then come back and play the way he did the next couple of rounds, I mean, that just tells you all you need to tell about Scotty Scheffler. But
right,
I'd say that there's always something to watch. It's just a question of whether you're the type of person that's going to look for those little small stories within the story.
Sure. Nuances.
And it's Eastlake. I like Eastlake, so I like watching.
Well, that's why it's going to be interesting then. You know, we're talking about the playoff format for 2028. It's like, is Eastlake going to play in there? We don't know at this point. I guess it depends a little bit on sponsorship and so forth. If Coca-Cola stays involved, I mean, that could be a big part of it. That's part of the reason why they're in Atlanta. So, does Eastlake become where the season finale is, or does it become where the match play finale is? I don't think it's a particularly exciting golf course for match play. For the current setup. They could set it up if you think of the one, you know, semi-island par 3 and obviously how 18 is and so forth, but I don't think it's all that compelling, and I think you want something fresh for that. So you know, I think it will be part of it. I just don't know where it will be as far as part of it. So there'll be some to watch, but I also think it's a good opportunity to maybe get in a golf game and catch the highlights afterwards too. So
I think I'm on the same page with you on that one. Maybe maybe a little more compelling on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We want to go to the next one here.
Let's spin it. Spin that wheel.
Right. Number 7, gamblers on social media have been clamoring for the PGA Tour to provide injury reports. What's your take?
Who cares?
Well,
Why do we care?
They do. That's the problem. And I think the problem is that they're looking at it as like, well, I don't want to be gambling on a certain player, but you know, because, you know, and I find out afterwards that, you know, they've got, an issue.
Don't gamble.
That's my take, is like, gambling is that it's taking a gamble, right? It's so, I mean, as far as, you know, what are they going to do? Interview every player beforehand and say, oh, are you feeling, you know, is your back sore? You got blisters on your hands? You got,
well, yeah, I mean, we didn't find that out about Scheffler. I mean, maybe people in the know knew, and they kept it quiet until after the tournament was over. But I mean, you see this in professional sport all the time. They talk about upper body injury, lower body injury, and they don't say specifically what it is, because if they did, in certain sports, they would target that on a player when they're playing. So
sure. But
in golf, it's an individual sport, so you're not targeting anything. But if you're doing it for the sake of the gamblers, come on.
Yeah, I think this is the problem, is that, you know, you've got people every time that an injury and stuff comes out, and I think they're like, oh, well, you know, the tour's in bed with the, you know, gambling operations and stuff like this. We should have injury reports. I think if gambling is your only reason to watch, you're probably missing the point.
Yeah, gamble on something else. I'm not big into the whole concept and idea of gambling anyway. So you're not going to get any sympathy from me.
No, me neither. It's like, you know, if you're going to take a shot at that, then too bad. That's the risk that you take, and certainly I don't think it should be any type of requirement for the tour to do that, for sure. So
agreed.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Number 13. Pitching wedge. Should it match your irons or your wedges?
Well, in my case, it matches my irons. I think, I don't know, because I know a lot of people that like good golfers. I'm not talking about you know, the high handicap friends of mine or you know, what have you. That I know some good players that have 48, 49, 50 degree wedges that match their wedges. So they have, like, you know, Cleveland wedges, and they've got
46, 50, 54, 58. So my 46 is my pitching wedge.
So your pitching wedge matches your wedges, not your...
Correct.
I guess those are your scoring clubs, so it kind of makes sense, I guess, in a way that they are similar. but then that's a tough one because I don't know. For me, my pitching wedge has always matched my set, not
Your
my
irons.
wedges,
Your
and
irons,
then my
your irons,
wedges
I mean,
are my wedges. So, but technically, a pitching wedge is a wedge.
Yeah, I think as they've gotten stronger, it's kind of changed up
That's
a little
crazy,
bit.
isn't it?
I know it is kind of funny when
It
you
is
think about
weird.
it, and they I've seen manufacturers like 44 degrees, which are more wedge styles. I still think it's a personal type thing, and I guess it depends how you use it more than anything. And this was a question that it was just a point of discussion that someone had asked me the other week. That's why I ended up in the queue here or whatever. But I think it's really personal of how they use it, and having done both over the years. I think the thing is now is that as pitching wedges though have gotten stronger, I think they've actually become more part of the set more than anything.
What's
As
the
far as
loft on your
the
pitching
irons,
wedge?
46.
So you have 46, which is a 9-iron.
Well, back in the day, it's not even close now. I mean, you got to remember that there's sets now that have 41 degrees in their pitching wedges.
So
That's
where
just
does it
where they're
end
at.
though? Like in that respect, where does it end? Like if you can
Just
get low, like higher or lower lofted wedges,
Yeah.
then when do you end up with a whole set of Cleveland RTX or RTZ short
Yeah.
irons? So you basically
Yeah.
your 9-iron through lob wedge is all Cleveland RTZs or
Yeah.
RTXs or whatever, and
Yeah.
your irons are now with hybrids in play. Your irons
Sure.
end up being like 6, 7, 8.
Oh, you could end up with no irons. You could end up with hybrids and wedges. I think it's really it's kind of personal, and I think people should understand the differences in most cases is that when they're matching the irons, they tend to have a lot lower center of gravity, so they tend to be more about a distance club. They tend to be a little bit lower spin, whereas they're a little higher CG when the wedge design, which is more like a blade type design. So you tend to have a little bit more spin. So it's very individual, and I've waffled on this one for years. I've had the 46 degree for a few years, and sometimes I like it and sometimes I don't, and so it's a tough one. So I'm leaning back now that, especially with the lofts getting stronger, I think it might as well be part of your iron set and not your wedge set, really.
See, my gap wedge matches my iron set. So I have I haven't now. It's not exactly the same because it's a generation of the ZX7 irons. It's a generation earlier, but it's still
pretty close.
Matches the iron, not my. I have my wedges are different.
Yeah.
But my gap wedge actually matches my irons too. So I only carry 2 wedges.
Right.
And then my gap wedge matches my iron. So I could go the other. I could go the other way with the. I would be more inclined to flip flop on the gap wedge, or the A wedge as they call them now. Gap wedge, A wedge. I'd be more inclined to flip flop there, whether I was to go wedge or set. But pitching wedge, I think I would always lean towards set.
It's really just a loft and a number on the bottom, anyways. But I think you're right. I think I'm more as they've gotten stronger. I think it's more towards the irons rather.
Now,
than
interestingly enough, how are you use steel throughout though? Your steel shafts throughout, right? So I have graphite in my irons, and that goes right to my pitching wedge. In fact, that goes right to my gap wedge. Yeah. And then my wedges are steel shafts. So if I were to go outside of if I were to move the other way and have my pitching wedge match my wedges and my gap wedge match my wedges, then I would switch to steel.
Sure. It's a mess.
I think for me though, I'd have a hard time finding a pitching wedge and a gap wedge to match my wedges right now, considering I'm using beryllium copper 588s. That'd be a hard find. It probably exists out there because they did make the 49 degree in the beryllium copper. But I mean, I think I would be searching and paying a ridiculous amount of money. Yeah. Okay. Let's randomly generate another number.
Otherwise we could be talking about this one forever.
Exactly.
So. All right. We did that one already, so that's no good.
Redo.
Did that one already, so that's no good. All right, 16. Oh, here we go. This is actually related to what we sort of talked about. 16. Matt Fitzpatrick posed the question: do we really need playoffs in golf? Is he wrong, or were they just created because a sponsor wanted to pay for it?
Okay, so I think that the whole playoff thing was created to have drama at the end of the season, because when they had their point stuff, so before they had the FedEx Cup playoffs, they had the FedEx Cup. So back when Tiger won it, I think the original FedEx Cup was just a season long points thing,
Mhm.
and at the end of the season, the winner of the FedEx Cup could have been determined before the last three events even started.
Right.
So there was no reason to watch, because there was nothing to hand out, because the FedEx Cup was over before the last two events of the season. Before they even got to the Tour Championship, the
Mhm.
the FedEx Cup was over.
Mhm.
I think that's why they created the playoff format, to try to have some
Partly,
people
yeah.
watching. But yeah, I mean, isn't everything a money grab? Like, at the end of the day,
It
it
is,
comes down
but
to sponsors, and sponsors pay
yeah,
the bills,
yeah.
and do they need playoffs?
Well, I think the thing is that, the tour's directive is obviously to create opportunities for their members. That's fine. I think Matt Fitzpatrick obviously comes from it from a DP World perspective, and the fact that, you get to a certain point in the year where they've already played a lot of events. They're going to have a full calendar of international events coming on. Why, if you have a season long points list and it's over, then what are you determining? You know,
So go
so
go
it's an interesting
go
it's an
play the
interesting
DP World
question.
Tour then. Like, I don't
No, no,
know.
no. I know he's a PGA Tour member, but he's just basically saying it's like, why do we need this extra, playoff thing to determine, you know, a champion? I guess it's just a philosophical question. I don't think there's a right or wrong here.
No, and I don't disagree with them. Golf it's kind of like, isn't it kind of like having the playoffs in tennis?
I think that's
You
part of
know,
I think that's part of the thing. As I think, I think golf looked at, other sports and said, oh, we have to mimic other sports in a way,
but
right?
golf's
So
unique in itself. So why do you need to mimic something that, I mean, other sports, like even NASCAR is trying the whole playoff thing, and
yeah,
it's
it's
okay, but and they're
it's
always
not great.
tweaking it, but it's not
Yeah,
really. It's the same thing. It's the same, and here's the thing: it's the same kind of thing. You've got 40 cars out on the track in the final race of their season, but only
yeah,
four of those cars are eligible to win
yeah,
the Cup
yeah,
championship. So it's
yeah,
like, if you don't want somebody to win the Cup championship, they could just wreck them. Like,
yeah.
it
I
doesn't
know.
make any
It's
sense.
weird.
It's NASCAR, the playoffs, but they ran into the same thing, where you have a season long points thing, and by
Yep.
the time you get to the end of the season, the
Yeah.
reason for
It's
people to watch is now over, other
yeah.
than the race itself, because the
Yeah.
points are done. The guys already won
Yeah.
it, and I'm okay with it. So maybe you should consider having your more important races at the end of the season rather than at the beginning of the season, so that because those are the races. Like, they have the Daytona 500 is the first race of the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if the Daytona 500 was the last race of the season? Now, I'm not suggesting that they do
No,
that,
no,
but
no. I
what
know
if it
what you're
was the
saying
last
though.
race?
Yeah.
Everybody's watching the Daytona
Yeah.
500, so you don't
Yeah.
need to worry about whether people are going to stick around and watch it. If you have
Yeah.
the most important tournament of the PGA Tour season at the end of the year,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
everybody's going to tune in, so you don't have to worry
But
about
part
people not
but
watching.
I think the part of the reason why Daytona became popular is because it is at the start of the year
Yes.
and people are excited and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So again,
It's like the Masters. The Masters at
right.
the beginning, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, the
Right.
Masters, the first
Exactly.
major of
Yeah.
the year." It's like the Flagstick
Exactly.
Open. The first
Yeah.
big amateur tournament
Yeah.
of the year is
Yeah.
at the beginning
Yeah.
of the year.
Yeah.
I get
So
it.
I don't, so I don't, yeah. So I get where he's coming from, and yes, in some ways it does feel forced. And then, I mean, obviously, they're trying to provide opportunities. They're trying to keep other things going and stuff like that. But it's interesting as far as
I
a
mean, I
topic is
like that.
concerned.
I like the playoff. I like the match play idea that they've come up with here. I still don't think that it's going to compel people to really pay attention to the playoffs. I just don't.
No.
I think I still fall on my Lars, I still think that people would be more inclined to pay attention if from week to week you had no idea who was going to be playing the next week until that tournament was over, and then you knew. And then that was
yeah.
playoffs. That was compelling. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God,
Yeah.
Scheffler finished 31st in the BMW. He's not in the BMW championship. Then you're going to be like, oh well, nobody's going to watch because Scheffler's not in it.
But again, I think there's a lot of things that feel sort of forced and manufactured. Whereas we go back way back, the Open used to finish basically the end of the year, and it was the Open Championship of the world, and you didn't really
Champion
think
golfer of the year.
Yeah, and it basically became silly season after that. So it seems somewhat manufactured when you start to look at it and how things have been layered on or whatever. So, anyways,
okay.
it's an interesting point.
We haven't fully answered the question, but we've provided
because we don't know. Yeah, there you go. That's about it. All right. I got number 11 here. PGA Tour Player of the Year race is Wyndham's latest win, which obviously he just won the BMW, 3 wins, including US Open. Is it enough to make him a challenge to Scotty for that Player of the Year race?
Is Scotty even in the conversation?
Yeah, 100%. Scotty's was before this week. He was recognized as being. Even Rory had said we're all chasing him based on his. Obviously he hadn't won a major, but he had the 2 wins and his consistency in his performance. They basically, a lot of the players sort of acknowledged that he was the leader in the race, but now all of a sudden Wyndham has 3 wins, including US Open, while he hasn't had as consistent of performances as Scheffler. Now do we actually have a little bit of a toss-up? Recognizing, of course, that, it's up to the players to decide this, right?
Well, I mean, I guess that's the question is how do you weigh the selection of Player of the Year? So Wyndham won the Byron Nelson. He won the U.S. Open and he's won the BMW. Cam Young won the Players Championship.
Yeah, I think really what most people, I mean, when I look at all the, the scenarios and stuff like that, I think people have, obviously he's in there, but I think in most cases, the discussion point right now is it Scotty or is it because
Scotty's in there because of statistics.
Yeah, of course.
That's why Scotty's in there. So if you look at
finishes as well.
Look at MVPs look at other sports. What determines the MVP in baseball? Is it because you got guys playing different positions? So then you've got someone like Shohei Ohtani that leads in pitching categories and leads in batting categories. That's kind of hard if a guy leads or is second in batting and is in the top 5 in pitching. That's hard to beat that situation, right? Regardless of anything else. In Scotty's case, he's won twice. One of them is a playoff event, but I mean, you take that for what it's worth. It's a field that's a third of the normal size, even though it's the top 50 points. It's not necessarily the top 50 players.
But Scotty's finished second 5 times.
That's the other thing. You'd like to take a look at the statistical categories. Is that he leads in pretty much majority of statistical categories on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, and that's not so much of just stats. Those are actual finishes, right?
Yes. So I don't know, because to me then you're basing Wyndham's the decision to have Wyndham as the Player of the Year solely based on his tournament wins. Now, if Wyndham wins Eastlake,
then
now you're talking someone who's won 4 events on the PGA Tour, including a major and 2 playoff events. I think the question is it's out the window. You mean wins trump stats. So right now he only has 1 more win than PGA. Now I also know that everybody looks at this as well. He won 3 events. Scheffler's won 2. One of the each won a playoff event. To me, Scheffler's playoff event win is more significant than Wyndham's because it was a bigger field. But Wyndham's won a U.S. Open. Well, I get that, but I don't put the same weight in major championship victories as other players do. Consistency to me is what a Player of the Year should be. It's being that good all year long. not
I
just
agree.
being that good 3 times or 4 times.
And
But
and
if
that's
you win
why
4 tournaments, 2 of
that's
them
a different.
playoff events,
That
it
might
kind of
swing it.
yeah.
Yeah, for
So
sure. And that'll be a tough one. And I think you're right. I think most players, if you had that discussion, they would look at the domination by Scotty from a week to week as the big factor right here. But if Wyndham can all of a sudden win the last 2 events in the playoffs,
yeah,
then
but I
that's
think he has to
pretty.
win. I
I think
don't
he has
think
to
that a
win. I
top
think you're right.
10 and
Yeah,
Scotty getting a top 10
right.
or,
No,
I don't
I
think
don't.
in a 30 player field, I don't think that
Yeah,
in itself is enough to make you player of the year. I think he has to win this week to be in the top conversation.
yeah. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, this one will be fun for you. Live 1.0 fizzles to the finish line. Obviously, after 5 years, Live 1.0 is gone. Will 2.0 happen or just go away? As Greg Norman said this week, he said he'd rather see it instead of withering on the vine. He said he'd rather see it just go away. So, do you think 2.0 will happen or just go away?
So I don't think you can predict really whether it's. I think it's gone. I think
I
that
mean, they
think
have
that
they have an
there's
offer sheet for an investor, but that's all that is an offer sheet because obviously that's going to be dependent on what talent they can retain, what kind of business structure they can create. Because for a company to come in and put money in, they want money back.
the idea of bankrolling something is gone. So now it's a business model that has to be presented, and there's no
Correct.
version of Live 1.0 that would make you believe that Live 2.0 would be any more of a profit center with less
Right.
money being injected into it than they had
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
The new version of it is basically asking the players to become equity partners potentially in it, not just players, which means
Mhm.
that their income becomes more based on PGA Tour type income as
Mhm.
opposed to being handed $500 million and
Yeah.
$250 million
Yeah. Yeah.
guarantees. There's
Right.
not going to be. It's going to more or less be following the same package plan that the PGA Tour is, and it's not even remotely close to going to be paying at the same kind of paydays. I just don't see a world where it works.
Yeah.
As much as some guys like Bryson may have wanted it to work, it seems to me
Mhm.
like you read into his comments what you will, but it sounds to me like maybe he's seeing the writing on the wall too,
Mhm.
as are some of the other ones based on their comments. So it's
Yeah.
funny, it's interesting. The most interesting thing is that Norman, who
Mhm.
basically kicked all this crap off to begin with,
Yeah.
is
It-
sitting there going, "It should probably just go away." He knows that,
yeah.
but at the same time, what was its purpose? Okay, do we look at Live and we said it was designed to be the big PGA Tour killer? I don't think it was ever created to take down the PGA Tour. I think that it Live was initially, the idea was to force the PGA Tour to make drastic
Hmm.
change to the way that they looked after the players.
Yeah,
And
but I don't think somebody's throwing in $6 billion to alter the culture of the PGA Tour. They wanted to create their own, but what we realized pretty quickly is that money alone does not do anything. Because as you said, it has to be a feasible business model. And
but whose
as
money?
we
We're
talk,
talking about the PIF. I mean, they
yeah,
put mega money into F1 for a number of years too. They
no,
didn't
no,
do it. They didn't do it to make any money. They did it just to find a place to put their money.
well, I get that, but I mean, as we talked about,
It's a
on
shiny new
this.
toy.
We talked about this on this podcast when it from the very start was that, there's, like you said, they put money behind projects all the time and pull the plug on them.
Yeah,
So,
just out of the blue. Like
right. It was, yeah,
this is the way they
yeah.
do it.
It was a false economy is what it was. And,
Yeah.
I compared it yesterday to, do you remember the Back Nine Network?
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, it was the same sort of thing. It was like all of a sudden everybody puts in money and this shiny new toy, as you said. Everybody parties and enjoys it, and they ignore the actual, the economics of it. And I think that's the other side of it right now. I mean, the potential backer for this tour, the offer sheets coming from BC Credit, which is Ted Goldthorpe, who's Canadian, by the way, from Thornhill originally, out of New York, but he's also on the Canadian Olympic Committee. He's as far as the foundation. He's part of Lacrosse Canada, all sorts of different things. So it's not that he doesn't have experience with those particular things, but I don't think, even though he's spoken to the players and stuff like that, I don't think it goes ahead if they don't have that talent. Because if you look down at that list and all the players that played this year, I went down that list, and man, there was like 4 or 5 guys I had to Google. I had no idea who they were. Yeah. And the thing is that you can't run a tour with just those players, not something at a successful level, because you can't sell that package to, sponsors. You can't sell that package to TV and so forth. So I think at this point, for me, I don't, even if it tries to go ahead, I think there's going to be even less interest, and there really wasn't much interest in 1.0. So I think, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's,
yeah, I think the thing is, if you lose Rahm and you lose Hatton and you lose DeChambeau, and you're left with Mickelson and Westwood and who's left?
Yeah, well, even then, I mean, Mickelson played one event, so yeah. I mean, yeah.
What are we doing here? Like,
there's nothing left. It's a joke.
It's less than Corn Ferry Tour.
It's exactly. There's nothing compelling.
All right, let's do one more. We got about 8 minutes, so let's do one more question and see where that takes us.
Number 12, with no Canadians in the Tour Championship, that means that currently only Mike Weir is qualified for the Masters among the Canadians. Who, if any, will surge and join him? So right now, Corey Connors is currently 52 in the official World Golf Rankings. As part of the different qualifications, in the OWGR, players need to be in the top 50 by the end of the year, or the top 50 by the week prior to the Masters. So imagine that right now, if it was status quo, because those players have dropped down, there would be nobody but a former champion who's a senior that playing there. Do you think any of the Canadians will surge their way back up and get their spot in the Masters, or are we looking at a very lean Canadian Masters next year?
How much further behind Corey Connors is somebody like Nick Taylor?
Nick Taylor's in the 70s, and I think Pendrith now is in the 90s, although Pendrith literally just minutes ago was named an assistant captain for the President's Cup, which is kind of odd, even though he's played in 2 of them, or a captain's assistant, as they put it. So so they're not that far off. It is possible that if they play well early in the year that they can jump, but they're going to have to play well at the start of the year or the rest of this year.
Yeah, I would say Corey Connors is probably the only one that I would say realistically could get a spot, because he doesn't have very far to go. He just needs to play well enough to jump a couple spots. Jumping up 20 or 30 or 40 spots in the world rankings without a whole lot of top tens in some big events before the Masters, and there aren't really any big events before the Masters. So what do you?
That's the issue.
Which means there's not enough world ranking points available to really make a big jump unless you win a couple of events. So I would say
part of the reason because part of the reason these guys obviously were in this year more than anything was because they got in that top 30 in the Tour Championship last year, which qualified for them a lot, and the fact that they were in the 50 as well, big difference. So it's harder and harder as we look towards signature events and so forth. If they can't get in those signature events, which some of them maybe they will, then that's going to be hard to gain those points when other players are gaining significant points early in the year. So it's certainly something I think we have to consider and kind of look at. And I think it's a topic that's kind of gone under the radar a little bit. I think Corey gets in there. Nick, could he get another win? Sure. Yeah, he could get in there. But my thoughts right now is that it might be a lean year for Canadians in the Masters in 2027 for sure.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Good question to finish on.
Thank you,
random number generator.
You got it.
Okay. Well, we're going to stop it there so we can get our thank yous in before we lose our time here. Great show. Good. I like the topic. All topics were all good, and then keep in mind,
Yeah,
all this
interesting
stuff
stuff.
is opinion. We're answering these
course.
questions. We're not answering the question with the only answer that exists. We're answering it with an opinion.
Sure.
So you can agree or disagree, and if you do agree or disagree, feel free to shoot us a message. Follow up with us. We'd love to hear from you, as we always do. But thank you for listening. Thank you to our sponsors, Metcalfe Golf Club, Falcon Ridge Golf Club, and of course our presenting sponsor, Srixon Golf. Whether you're looking for a premium urethane option in the Z-Star, quality budget option in the soft field, or somewhere in between the Q-Star Tour, Srixon Golf is bound to present an option that will work for your game. For more information, visit Srixon Golf or Srixon.ca. We do hope that you're enjoying hearing and watching us. Be sure to follow us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And don't forget our YouTube channel. Like us, click the notification bell. Make sure you never miss a single episode, and subscribe. Get over to flagstick.com. Amazing golf content delivered every single day to that website. And be sure to subscribe to the Flagstick Digest newsletter. And you'll get that sent to your inbox free of charge, totally free of charge, 3 times per week, with lots of great information for you there. So there's that. As always, we do appreciate you tuning in. But again, until next week, I'm Jeff Potter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.